Trump just fired the BLS chief. But was it political meddling or overdue accountability? Stay tuned as we dive into three explanations: politics, bad data, or incompetence. Let's uncover the truth together.
Thing number one, Gary, President Trump fires the head of the BLS. Tell us what we need to know.
All right. So first of all, Rob, just for clarity, if the next time I go on vacation, we're just going to leave Mrs. Farian in charge. She can do my end of this. If she's following all of this, if she's following Powell, the BLS, that'll be great. All right. So last week, President Trump fired the head of the BLS. That stands for Bureau of Labor Statistics. The former occupant of that chair was Erica McIntyre. That led Democrats to claim the president was politicizing the BLS. They started wailing. There was hysteria. Everybody got really upset. They said that the firing was a threat to the integrity and independence of federal statistics. That sounds like a really serious accusation. If you do a web search, you're going to see endless political operatives and analysts claiming that the president's action is what threatens the integrity of the entire system. As usual at Deep Knowledge Investing, we want to examine the data before we draw our conclusions. So what President Trump was focused on last week was a gigantic revision in the employment numbers. It was 258,000 jobs. That is over 250,000 jobs. I have written dozens and dozens of pages the last few years on how inaccurate the BLS numbers have been. The revisions are always gigantic. It's gotten to the point where I stopped looking at it. I stopped analyzing it. There's really no point in analyzing data that's going to be revised by literally an order of magnitude a month later. They do these every month. By the way, it's worth pointing out that McIntyre was a Biden appointee who also presided over an 818,000 downward revision, right? So almost 1 million jobs got lost for the year ending March 2024. In addition to that, completely separately from that, there was an 832,000 job downward revision across 3 months in 2023. In fairness to McIntyre, she was not on the job when that happened. The revision took place on her watch. But I mean, the fact is we had two revisions that were almost 1 million jobs each. We just had 250,000 job revision. The BLS is not reporting accurate numbers. That's the integrity issue.
Yeah, Gary, we talk about data, the numbers. We've been tracking the labor numbers for you a lot longer, me a couple of years, just over the course of this show. We always talk about just nonsensical. These numbers make no sense. The bifurcated economy conversation, right? This public versus private sector. So does President Trump firing the head of BLS actually threaten the integrity of this system when in reality this system has already had threats against its integrity because we know that the information is just not true?
So that's the key issue, Rob. And the really interesting thing is we've identified three possibilities for what could be going on. And I don't know that any of it matters. Here's why. It could be politically driven, right? I've previously suggested inaccurate data presentation might be politically motivated. President Trump just suggested the same. Sometimes you want to show good numbers for the guy in charge, but then the revision would be quiet later. It's a possibility. I don't know. Bad data is a possibility. James Lavish, who is an analyst I respect, he made a convincing case. The BLS is getting bad data at the beginning and they need more time to publish accurate results. Okay, fair enough. Incompetence is a possibility. Maybe none of this is politically motivated, but they're unable to find a way to collect and report accurate data. In the end, it doesn't matter. The job is to report accurate data. If they can't do that, they should be replaced. And by the way, I think James Lavish, like I said, he made a phenomenal point that they don't have good data. But if you're running the BLS, figure out a way to get good data. This problem has been going on for years. I haven't seen anybody from the BLS stand in front of a camera and say, we've been getting bad data. Here are the steps we're taking to address that. In the end, Rob, firing the person who's responsible for producing bad data isn't a threat to the system, assuming the real goal of the BLS is to provide us with accurate data. It's a government agency that consistently reports inaccurate data that threatens the integrity of the system. What President Trump did was the right thing.
Yeah, it makes total sense, Gary. And you're exactly right with that data. Well, then get the data in the position that it needs to be structured, able to be analyzed. That's the job that needs to get done, and it needs to get done quickly because, as you mentioned, it's been going on far too long. And as we see a lot of times in government, things move slow and don't tend to get done. So I think this will be nice. Remove that bottleneck if that's what it is. Let's get the data in. Let's analyze it. Let's get accurate reporting so we all have something real to talk about on a regular basis.